welcome back to my channel, the I Teach channel. And today we are going to learn another English concept. And this is all about chronological sequential, in medias res, and flashback. All right. So let us start. By the way, I'm your teacher Maricel. So we are going to tackle today the milk or the most essential learning competency, and this is to evaluate narratives based on how the authors develop the elements, such as the plots, which is chronological sequential, in medias res, and flashback. All right. So let's start. Okay. But before that, let's have first a review. Okay. So, direction, you have to evaluate the short narrative by telling how the writer developed the plot. All right. So, let us read first the story. He left so I could learn. It was my second day on the job. I was sitting my seemingly gilded cubicle overlooking Emilio Aguinaldo Highway and pinching my right arm to make sure it was real. I landed an internship at SM Bacoor City. Every aspiring writer I've known secretly dreamed of a Henry Cis lifestyle, wondering how he managed to be the richest person in the Philippines. When my phone rang and it was my mom telling me dad had a heart attack, he didn't make it, I felt as though the perfectly carpeted floors had dropped out from under me. Now that I've come out the other side, I realize dad left me with a hefty stack of teachings. Here are the three ideals I know he would have liked for me to embrace. First, you have to stand on your own feet or your own 2 feet. As much as our parents loved and support us, they can't go to our school and confess to the principal that we stole a candy bar from Sarah. We have to do that. Neither can they walk into the SM City office and nail a job interview for us. At some point, we have to put our big girl's pants and be brave, even if we're not. Also, there's a difference between love and codependence. Being grateful to have someone to turn to for love and support is not the same as needing someone to turn to for love and support. With the loss of my father, I've also lost my sounding board. All I can glean from that is it's time to look within myself and make proper assessments. If I can't make sound decisions with the tool already in my kit, then I risk falling for anything. Finally, memories are perhaps the only item that cannot be taken away from us. Will I miss my father? Every single day. What am I gonna do in those times? I can open up our suitcase of memories, pick out my favorite one, and dream about it, talk about it, and write about it. Maybe I can pick up the call or the phone and call him anymore, but that doesn't mean he's gone. Next week, I'm off to Manila to explore there the other branch. As soon as I read the email from my editor, I pick up my phone to call dad. Then I realized he'll never answer my calls again. I fought back the tears, got up to make a cup of peppermint tea, and added a new note to my iPhone titled I as a Manila packing list. In the end, life goes on. I'm not sure why he had to leave during the single most poignant chapter in my life, so I won't dwell on that. Instead, I'll hold tightly to these three ideals and write about my journey at SM Manila. Dad will be with me every step of the day. All right, so there you have it, guys. All you have to do is to tell me what is the setting of this story and what is the theme of this story and the theme. Okay, I'll give you time to think. Very good. The theme of this is about memories, okay? The memory of my father, or it can be the memory of my late father, all right? The memory. Okay, that is our concept. Our yes, our theme. Okay, the concept theme. Next one, what is the point of view? The point of view is the first person because the writer is the one writing and telling the story. Okay, very good because you can still remember our past lesson. All right, so today, when was the time or when was the last time you heard a story or a narration? Of course, that was a while ago, right? There are narrative techniques used in delivering plot. When we listen to a story being told, we would like to know what happened till the end and know the events or the plot in the story. This lesson highlights the evaluation of narratives based on how the author developed the elements. We are going to focus today about the plot. Okay, there are three kinds of plot. We have the chronological, sequential, in medias res, and flashback. All right. After going through this lesson, you're expected to evaluate narrative based on how the author developed the plots, particularly chronological, sequential, medias res, and flashbacks. Take note that the narrative is the account of events, experiences, and details of story. It is a series of events which lead to understanding of the story. A plot is is a sequence of related events in the story. It is generally constituted by three main stages. We have the beginning, the climax, and the ending. In this part of the lesson, this will primarily focus to the three ways on how to evaluate narratives based on how the author developed the elements, particularly in the plot, because we are done already with the character, with the setting, with the theme, and with a point of view. Right now, we are going to focus to the plot. The first kind of plot is chronological sequential. It is a narrative technique in which the story has beginning, middle, and end. The events are explicitly stated from exposition to resolution. Okay, take a look at this. This is a diagram showing how a sequential or a chronological sequential being done. So we started with the beginning, the exposition, then we have the rising, the middle, the climax is in there, then the falling action and the resolution, and that's the end of the story, all right, or the narrative. Next one, okay, so we have here an example. In the fiction series Diary of a Wimpy Kid, everything the audience knows is from what they read in the diary of the middle schooler Greg. The diary starts at the beginning of the school year, and Greg makes an entry every day. Here are the few lines from a couple of different diary entries. We have Monday. I guess mom was is pretty proud of herself by making me to write in that journal last year because now she went out and brought me another one. But remember how I said if some jerk caught me carrying a book with diary on the cover, they were gonna get the wrong idea. Well, that's exactly what happened today. Tuesday, when I got to school today, everybody was acting all strange around me, and at first I didn't know what was up. Then I remembered I still had a cheese touch from last year. Greg's diary is a chronology of his life. It is a timeline of everything that happens to him day by day, and he tells us what past events too. With each new book in the series, you get to witness the details of his life as they happen in chronological order and learn more about his past through the memories he records. All right. So it's really telling us what's the beginning, what happened in the beginning, in the end, and the end of the last or the school year. All right. So next we have the in medias res. It is a narrative technique which the story starts in the middle without exposition. So take a look at this diagram. So we started in the middle. There's no beginning, all right? So it started with a climax, then the falling action, then the resolution, and that's the end of the story. Okay? So this is an example. Iliad by Homer. Sing, O goddess, the anger of Achilles, son of Peleus, that brought countless ills upon the Achaeans. Many a brave soul did it send hurrying down to Hades, and many a hero did it yield the prey to dogs and vultures. For we were the counsels of Jove, fulfilled from the day on which the son of Archeus, king of men, and great Achilles first fell out with another. So this is taken from the Iliad by Homer, book 1. This is translated by Samuel Butler. The practice of in medias res can be traced in Iliad as given in the first few lines. Homer has started his narrative directly with the quarrel between Achilles and Agamemnon during the events of the Trojan War instead of beginning chronologically from the birth of Achilles to onwards. All right. So they started with the climax. Okay. Next one, we have the flashback. Flashback is a narrative technique in which the story has an interruption of the current story to show the scene from the past. All right. So take a look at this. Do you have this story? And then look at the arrow. It is flashbacking. All right. So let's have an example. We looked on, waiting patiently. There was nothing else to do till the end of the flood. But it was only after a long silence when he said, in a hesitating voice, I suppose you fellows remember, I did once turn freshwater sailor for a bit. That we know we were fated before the ebb began to run. To hear about one of the Marlowe's inconclusive experiences. All right, this was taken from The Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad. These flashback examples come from near the beginning of The Heart of Darkness as sailors are at rest on their boat on the Thames. Since they are not presently working, their fellow sailor Charles Marlowe decides to tell them about his experience traveling upriver in the center of Africa to find an ivory trader named Kurtz. Therefore, the great bulk of Conrad's novel occurs in flashback, all right? Because Conrad's here is telling about the past. Okay. So let's try this one. Actually, this is just the story I had read a while ago, but this time you are not going to evaluate the theme and the point of view, but instead you're going to tell me how the writer right or yes telling how the writer developed the plot. This must be writer, okay? This is not right. Okay, so let us read again the story. He left so I could learn. It was my second job, or it was my second day on the job. I was sitting in my seemingly gilded cubicle overlooking Aguinaldo Highway and pinching my right arm to make sure it was real. I landed an internship at SM Bacoor City. Every aspiring writer I've ever known secretly dreamt of Henry's lifestyle, wondering how he managed to be the richest person in the Philippines. When my phone rang, it was mom telling me dad had a heart attack. He didn't make it. I felt as though the perfectly carpeted floors had dropped out from under me. Now that I've come out the other side, I realize Dad left me with a hefty stack of teachings. Here are three ideals I know he would have liked me or for me to embrace. First, you have to stand up or you have to stand on your own 2 feet. As much as our parents love and support us, they can't go to our school and confess to the principal that we stole a candy bar from Sarah. We have to do that. Neither can they walk into the SM City office and nail a job interview for us. At some point, we have to put on our big girl pants and be brave, even if we're not. Also, there's a difference between love and codependence. Being grateful to have someone to turn for love and support is not the same as needing someone to turn for love and support. With the loss of my father, I've also lost my sounding board. All I can glean from that is it's time to look within myself and make prosper assessments. If I can't make sound decisions with the tools already in my kit, then I risk falling anything for anything. Finally, memories are perhaps the only item that I cannot be taken away from us. Will I miss my father? Every single day. What can I do in those times? I can open up our suitcase of memories, pick out my favorite one, and dream about it, talked about it, or read about it. Maybe I can't pick up the phone and call him anymore, but it doesn't mean he's gone. Next week, I'm off to Manila to explore their two other branch. As soon as I read the email from my editor, I picked up my phone to call dad. Then I realized he'll never answer my call again. I fought back the tears, got up to make a cup of peppermint tea, and added a new note to my iPhone titled I Manila packing list. In the end, life goes on. I'm not sure why he had to live during the single most poignant chapter in my life, so I won't dwell on that. Instead, I hold tightly to these three ideals and write about my journey at SM Manila. Dad will be with me every step of the way. Wow, this is really a very nice story. I really love this. I remember my dad. All right, this is really a very sad story. I'm always touched when I am reading this story. All right, so right now we are going to know how the story did or how the writer developed the plot. Yes, you are very good. Yes, this is medias res because here in this story the writer started with the climax, and that's the time where her dad left her. All right? Okay, that's really so bad. Okay, and then it ended up that her life must goes on. Okay, so we started it from the climax, and then the story goes on with the ending, and he has to go. She has to go, or she has to go on with her life. All right. This is in medias res. Okay, so now, so you will have your performance test, guys. Please do this very well. So the directions: evaluate the short narrative by telling how the writer developed the plot. Okay, number one. In my younger and more vulnerable years, my father gave me some advice that I've been turning over in my mind ever since. Whenever you feel like criticizing anyone, he told me, just remember that all people in this world haven't had the advantages that you've learned. All right. So how does the writer, this must be writer, okay? I'm sorry guys, how the writer developed the plot. Okay, next, number two. This is from Odyssey by Homer. Tell me, O muse, of that ingenious hero who traveled far and wide after he had sacked the famous town of Troy. Many cities this did he visit, and many were the nation with whose manners and customs he was acquainted. Moreover, he suffered much by sea while trying to save his own life and bringing his men safely home. But do what he might, he could not save his men, for they perished through their own sheer folly in eating the cattle of the sun god Hyperion. So the gad prevented them from ever reaching home. Tell me, too, about all these things, O daughter of Job, from whatsoever source you may know them. All right, so tell me, how does the author develop the plot in this story? All right, so there you have it, guys. We had finished our lesson today. Thank you so much. Please don't forget to subscribe and like this video. All right, please share to your friends. And remember to subscribe and please click the notification bell so that you will be get updated with the video that I'm going to upload. All right? See you next time. I'm your teacher Maricel. See you guys. Bye bye. Thank you.